Hey, so here we are in my cutting room, also known as my dining room. And I'm just going to finish cutting out the armhole of this vest that I am working on. Now, I showed you before, this is the rayon bamboo felt that I bought from Dharma Trading. And it's a super simple pattern. You've probably seen it in a number of places on the internet. It's a vest pattern. You don't have to finish any edges if you use something like felt or fleece or something like that. You just cut out the armholes, and again with this type of fabric I don't have to finish the edges if I don't want to. And then I'm just going to go ahead and dye it. And you can see there's a bit of shaping down at the, well, you probably can't see, oh yes, at the bottom. It's longer at the very center back and comes up at the sides. Let me do this because I'm short and I find that it really ends up too long in the front. So I've cut out one armhole. What you want to do is fold your fabric in half. For me, I find that it is best if the top of the armhole is about 8 inches from the top of the garment. The armhole itself is about 10 inches long. Remember, this is fairly, like, it's a generous armhole, so you can just put it on over bulky sweaters or whatever you want. So 10-inch armhole, and when the fabric's been folded in half, about 5.25 inches from the back. Now, this is something you're going to have to experiment with, and I would suggest that you get some cheap fabric and just some sheets or something like that, and play around with it a little bit, because, and the first time, just cut a small one, because you may find that you need to have the armholes farther apart, farther down from the front. It depends on how much of a draped neckline you want, whether you want it sort of like a racer back a bit more for the vest, or you like the armholes coming forward. So again, this size works for me. I would experiment a bit with a sheet or something like that and try it on and get the fit just right. But then, once it's cut out, I'm going to be able to go and dye it. There's going to be no finishing to it unless I want to add something like some pockets or something like that. I have added extra pieces up at the top to give me an asymmetrical neckline, that sort of thing. But it is really a very super simple garment, and you can get really creative with the surface design. You can do printing, dyeing, all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to go in the dye studio and take a look at that in just a minute. So here I am in my dye studio, which is actually my garage that I've converted. And you have to see I've got all kinds of storage and lighting and different things. The most important thing is that I have water in here, which is great. Anyway, I have everything lined up. I've got all my various dyes here, and as you can see, I mark my dyes on the top of each container so that it's so much easier to tell what color I'm going to deal with instead of having to take it closer. I don't have really good eyesight, and you don't want to be getting your face in the dye as much as possible. So I've already poured out some chemical water into all the containers. I have my dye set up, my mixing spoons. I'm going to cover this up, put on my mask to do the dye mixing so that it's from powder into liquid, and after that I can take the mask off and start working with the dyes. But if you do work with powdered dyes, particularly Procyan MX, really be careful. Always wear gloves and put on your mask until this is thoroughly dissolved. It's now liquid. Then it's safe, but otherwise you're breathing in the powders. The powder is very lightweight, and Procyan MX, it goes into the air. The ideal thing is to have a mixing box so that you really contain it, but this will do for the time being. Hi, my dyes are mixed and we're ready to go. So a couple of these dyes I haven't used before, the particular colors, and I have a tank top here that I want to dye. And so one of the ways that it's easiest to see what color a dye will be just to dye a single item with that color. Until it's really been washed and dried, you don't know for sure what it's going to look like. And if you want to do something called low water immersion, you can just kind of scrunch it up, put it in here, pour some dye on top, maybe add some more water if you want to make the dye more diluted, and just see what you get. So I am going to do that with the chartreuse. Now I think that I want to pre-soak this though in some more water. So I'm just going to dunk this in the water here. I'm not going to do any tying and dyeing and binding, but depending on how you fold your garment, you can get some interesting things happening. You know, you can twist it, turn it, all kinds of stuff. I'm not really too concerned. I'm going to get a fairly all over kind of dye, but this is the chartreuse. It really looks this lovely limey green, and I'm just going to pour it on. And of course, because I'm doing it on a beige sweater, a sort of camel color, that's going to give me a little bit different effect. But I like that sort of thing. For one thing, it will tend to make the dye less garish, less bright. If you want a real neon effect, do it on pure white. But this will sort of tone it and warm it. And since I have a feeling this is going to be a really strong color, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to let it sit now for a while until I'm ready to pour some soda ash on it. So let's see what else I feel like doing. I have this linen sweater that I never wear because it's beige. I mean, really, I don't wear beige. But every once in a while I buy it because I think I should wear beige every once in a while. And then I buy it and I wear it once or twice and I think, oh, this is really boring. I really want to dye this. So that's what I end up doing with it. So this one, I know I'm needing kind of a turquoise. And this new color that I just got is called Parakeet, and it looks quite wonderful. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix some colors into it. So this is pure turquoise. I really like what happens when you mix in a few colors, different colors, and let it happen. Now I've also got gray, cobalt blue, and indigo blue. I'm going to add a little bit of cobalt, not very much, and I'm going to add some more water. I have this mix called chemical water, which has got some urea and metaphos and different things in it. And I will just add that to this because there's still a lot of dye in there. Even though I emptied it, I'm going to get a lot of dye. Okay, now we're going to have the really fun stuff going on here. I want to make sure you can see this. Alright, I'm going to start painting this bamboo rayon felt that I got, that I've already cut up into the best shape. I want to put some maybe darker colors around the edges and then lighter on the inside. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm actually going to paint with the dyes on here, and then I'm just going to sort of pour dyes on when I get more into the center. So I just got this thing turned, and you can see already my dyes are getting on this, that were a little bit on my hands, on the, they get onto absolutely everything when they're in powder form, very, very easily, plus any bits that I've spilled. So, also I've put in the little pieces that I cut out for armholes because I might want to use that for a button or something like that if I want to reinforce it to put, to put buttons or pockets or something like that. So I know I've kind of got all my edges showing here, and I think I'm going to start with my darker colored dyes on the outside and then just sort of work my way in. So I've got my navy, cobalt, I think. Okay, well, here we go. with a bit of cobalt. And wow, it looks deep, and I already kind of lightened it up with some extra water, but there we go. I'm going to put it basically all the way around the edges. Well, it's the next day. All of my fabric has been sitting happily in its dye pots, soaking up all that dye, working with the soda ash to turn it into a permanent bond. And I'm going to take a look at what I've got now. This is just about my favorite part because it's so exciting to see what has happened. But one thing I want to show you is vast. I ran out of room on my camera before I could finish painting it. So let's just take a look. I wrapped it all up in plastic and let the dyes sit and meld and do some wonderful things. I'm going to just take this other fabric out that I left there. Oh, interesting. I have to mark. Very fun. I don't know if you can see this very well, but there is some beautiful color mixing going on here, and I think I'm going to be very, very happy with this piece after I have finished washing it out. So that's the next part. Washing with cold water and then warm water and finally hot, and doing some pretty serious rinsing. I find what's best is to leave the fabric a lot to soak for quite a bit of time. And otherwise you're just running through a huge amount of water, and it's better to just let it soak and then dump it off and add some more rather than running water constantly and using a lot of water to rinse it out. So I'm going to take a look at what's what. Here's my one-piece vest once I finish the dyeing project. You can see the front and the back here. Now it is technically finished right now without doing any other finishing to it. I've pinned it with one of my vintage brooches, but I could also decide to put buttonholes on it, pockets, those kinds of things. I could decide to wear it for a little while the way it is now and then decide that I want to add some things to it afterwards. But it really is an easy project if you use fleece or felt or something like this. This is the rayon bamboo felt from Dharma Trading, and it dyes just beautifully. And I'm actually probably still going to do some stitching on it. I'm thinking about doing a circular kind of stitching in the back, and if I do that, I'll show it to you again. But I want to show you a couple of other things from that dye session. So if I oh, and you can wear this open. You can do you can adjust the neckline. There's a lot of things that you can do. But here is the linen sweater that I dyed that day, and that was in parakeet turquoise and a little bit of cobalt. Really quite happy with how that turned out. And also, this is the tank top that I dyed. It was beige to begin with, and I dyed it in chartreuse. So it was really a fun dye session for me. I like to dye coordinating things often when I'm working, because then later on they all work together when you wear them. So I hope you had fun watching me do some dyeing and making this one-piece vest. Super easy little project to do. Just take your time making it fit right, and you'll be very happy with it. See you later, Anne from To Dye For Art. Bye.